Miami lost to the Knicks on Sunday and are just one game over 500. What went wrong? And while Kel'el Ware seems to be improving, is Bam Adebayo regressing?
David, it's getting harder to find ways to defend Bam after this road trip.
You are Locked On Heat, your daily Miami Heat podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
All right, welcome to Locked On Heat, your daily podcast on the Miami Heat, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, now the #1 sports podcast network. Whether you're tuning in on YouTube or on your favorite podcast app, thanks so much for making Locked On Heat your first listen every day. Join the Cookie Gang, become an everydayer. That means subscribing, tuning in every day, Monday through Friday, and signing up for the Everydayer Club with the link in the show notes. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. If you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, visit FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. I'm Wes Goldberg, host of Locked On NBA Daily and Real Jam Radio. I'm here with David Ramil. Both of us are credentialed Heat media members who cover this team every day. Have a jam-packed show for you today where we do have a silver lining that I want to talk about here coming out of the Heat's 1-2 road trip. But let's start with this game, recording Sunday night after the Heat's loss to the Knicks. David, no other way to put this. This one hurt. It seemed like the Heat had a chance in this one. They had a 10-point lead multiple times in this game, in the first half in particular, and it seemed like they were playing well. The threes were going in early. Some moments from Norm Powell, Jaime Jr., Kel'el Ware was fantastic. We'll talk about him as we go along in the show. But at the end of the day, they just didn't have an answer for Jalen Brunson. He had almost 50 points in this game, and that to me is what really stands out to me in this game. Not just in this Knicks loss, but also in the Boston Celtics loss too on Friday night. Both of those teams had closers, and it was Brunson for the Knicks tonight. And the Heat just don't have that closer. They don't have that guy that you can just give the ball to, and he can just carry you. Maybe that guy is on the bench in Tyler Herro right now. He's obviously sidelined with this injury. But what stands out to me about it, I guess, is that this new offensive system that had been able to overcome that fact earlier in the year can no longer overcome that anymore. And the Heat lost to two teams in the Knicks and the Celtics who are just better than them right now.
Yeah, that's a pretty good way of putting it. Miami just fell apart in the second half. The same shots that were following in the first half weren't following in the second. They weren't able to respond to New York's physicality as well, I think, and they lost their composure a little bit. The shots that I hate to reduce it to something as simple as make or miss, but there were eminently makeable shots that they just couldn't hit. And I really don't think New York beat them as well as Brunson played on Sunday night. I really think the Heat lost this game. I'm not giving any credit to New York for this one because I think Miami could have easily won this game because there were shots there that they should have absolutely made. Like Brunson was great. The refs were certainly very, let's say, generous when it came to Jalen Brunson drives and things of that sort. But overall, I think Miami wound up playing much more poorly than their opponent. And so they threw this game away at a point in time when I thought they were playing really well in the first half. As you said, with that double-digit score, they were aggressive. Their defense was playing at a high level. They were rotating. They were, I think, challenging New York in a way that we hadn't seen for much of the last, I'd say, month maybe, where they've been up and down in terms of what their defensive pressure has been like. And of course, obviously, they've struggled scoring as well. But in the first half, it looked like it was much more of that kind of style of basketball that we expected from this Heat team after the first few weeks of the season. And then they kind of seemed to forget all of that. And really, there were shots that they just couldn't make that were very, very easy. Either with like a 10-foot baseline jumper that would just rim out, a wide open 3-point shot. A number of players that just simply forgot how to score at a point in time when Miami needed those points most badly, even at the free throw line. Like there were some really, really, really costly missed shots there. And while Miami tried their best to kind of keep pace with New York, they just couldn't do it because their offense absolutely faltered.
Speaking of the free throws, the key, I think at least, the key series in this game, about 2 minutes left in the game, the Heat down 125 to 118. Jaime Jr. goes to the line, gets fouled, goes to the line, misses both free throws. The Knicks run out after the second missed free throw. Norm Powell fouls Jalen Brunson. They rule that he slid under him. not only does he foul him on a 3-pointer, but they also rule it a flagrant one because he interfered with the landing space. Brunson makes all 3 free throws, and then the Knicks get possession back. They don't score, but they're able to run a little bit more clock off, which was really important with that much time left. And instead of having the ball with almost 2 minutes left, the Heat get the ball back down 10 after those 3 free throws that Brunson made and the 2 that Jaime missed, with about 1:20 left, and it was just too late at that point. OG Anunoby hits like a dagger later on, but that to me was the series that ended up swinging the game. What could have been a 5-point lead and the Knicks taking the ball out of bounds ended up being a 10-point lead for the Knicks with about 90 seconds to go, and it was too much for the Heat to overcome. I would disagree with you with the fact that it just, I don't know if I even disagree with you, but I look at this. The Heat shot 47% overall and almost 49% from 3-point range. I don't want to hear missed shots. I don't want to hear it. I don't even want to hear the free throw thing. We could quibble about the refs and the officiating, whatever. The Heat took 35 free throws in this game. The Knicks took 21. I don't want to hear any of that. To me, those are you made enough shots to win the game. You got the better whistle overall in this game. I don't want to hear any of that. And so maybe you're right that the Heat lost this game, because then you look at the Knicks, they shot 55% overall, 53% almost from 3-point range. But I also look at where the Knicks shots came from. They made a lot of mid-range shots in this game. And I honestly need to go back. Obviously, we're recording this right after the buzzer, so I haven't gone back and watched it. But is that luck for the Knicks? Was it just Bridges catching fire in the first quarter, or the first half from mid-range? Or is that something that you expect for a team that has Bridges, who is a accomplished mid-range shooter, has Brunson, who can make shots from everyone on the court? I don't really know what to make of that part of it.
Yeah, I don't know either, to be honest with you. I don't know, man. I'm watching that game. I just I know I don't typically sound off this way, but I was frustrated watching it, because I think that the Heat really did fall apart a little bit. I don't know. I'm trying to find the first half numbers versus the second half numbers. I mean, it's pretty clearly that they shot better. They were 48% in the first half overall, 45% from 3-point range. And they were still down 4 at that point, because New York had mounted a slight comeback in the second quarter. But I thought they kind of just fell apart after that point in time, and I don't know. It just, what stood out to me was,
right? They felt disorganized in the last few minutes, where the Knicks just knew, and the Celtics did the same thing Friday night. They said, okay, we know that what we want to get to is the Jalen Brown, Derek White 2-man game, and both of those guys, in addition to Sam Hauser, who just came back from the dead, not just in that game, for the whole season. Sam Hauser just torched them in the fourth quarter, but that was a close game against Boston, a winnable game, just like this Knicks game was. But like the Celtics did on Friday night, the Knicks just pulled away in the end, and I think it's because they had something that they could just deliver on every possession down offensively. And I don't think the Heat were cold in this game until the end, until those last 2 minutes, where nobody really could get the shot, and they just, again, seemed a little bit disorganized, to the point of I'm not really sure what they were trying to get to late in that game.
Yeah, that's fair. Obviously, we should point out, without Tyler Herro, who's missed a 4th consecutive game at this point now. So would he have stepped up in that closer role? I think a lot of fans might be dubious, but we certainly see him play that role in the past.
He's their best shot creator off the dribble. It did feel like they missed him in this one.
No doubt. I think he could have. I think he could have helped balance out some of the need for that go-to score. And not just at the waning moments of the game, but maybe you play some of the other rotation players a little bit less, or maybe they don't get any playing time at all. Because I mean, I don't want to point to any one player, but Simone Fontecchio.
I don't want to point to any one player except this one player.
I mean, listen.
He was bad.
He was
bad.
He was outright
David,
bad.
call like you see it, man. Like, the guy gets paid millions of dollars to play basketball at a high level, and he didn't tonight. He played 17 minutes. He was 1 of 6 overall. He was rough on both ends of the court. And to your point, maybe he got benched for Yakachonis down the stretch. And I thought it was the right move to start the 19-year-old or to play the 19-year-old over him, which is crazy. But Like, he was bad, and to your point, like, if you have Hero, then you're not relying on some of those deeper depth pieces as much as you usually do. So, yeah, I mean, you don't want to chalk everything up to injury, but the Knicks are healthy. But then again, the Celtics on Friday night are missing their best player in Jason Tatum, right? And they've missed
Yeah.
him all season, but it still matters, right? They figured out ways, though, to win because Jalen Brown is a really good basketball player, and he's had a little bit of a mini leap this year. And the Heat get that sometimes from guys like Norm Powell, but Norm Powell's not like an on-ball shot creator type. They kind of need that guy to be Bam, and he really wasn't that over these last couple of games. We could talk about that. Plus, there is a silver lining from this 1-2 road trip. We'll talk about that next here on Locked On Heat.
Today's episode is brought to you by Robinhood. Nobody knows your money goals better than you. Robinhood puts you in control of your money with tools that work as hard as you do. Locking in on every opening, beating your PR, beating it again. Channel that drive into your money because Robinhood puts you in control of your money. You can trade stocks and ETFs, options, futures, and crypto all on one platform. You can now build and execute your own trades from a desktop with Robinhood Legends advanced tools, or take advantage of the new Robinhood strategies with a tailored portfolio managed by a team of experts. You expect more from yourself, so expect more from your money. Get started today at Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Again, that's Robinhood.com/yourmoney. Your money, your move. We'll be right back.
Thanks again for making Locked On Heat your first listen of the day. Thank you for making the Locked On Podcast Network the #1 sports podcast network. You already live your team every day. Now take it up a level and go ad-free. Join the Everydayer Club today and get Locked On Heat with no interruptions, members-only Discord access, and a whole lot more, all for just $5 a month or $50 a year. Great Christmas present. Go to LockedOnHeat.com/supercast, or I'm sorry, LockedOnHeat.supercast.com, or check the link in the show notes to learn more. David, I got a good thing and I got a bad thing. Which one do you want to hear first?
Let's hear the bad thing. Let's get it out of the way.
Get it away. Well said. Bam Adebayo is the bad thing.
Yes.
Was not a great weekend for him. He goes, what was he, 6 of 13 against the Celtics. He was 4 of 11 tonight against the Knicks. My math has that as 10 of 24 overall in the last couple of games, and was not the guy that the Heat needed down the stretch. The Heat this sounds weird, but the Heat wasted a bad Karl Anthony Towns game. As bad as Bam was, he outplayed Cat. Like, Cat was barely playable. Bam at least gives you something defensively in the rebounds. Like, that stuff was there tonight. Offensively, he was a mess. But for him to be that much of a mess offensively and still be better than Cat, it feels like a lost opportunity there for the Heat to come out with a win with this one. But zooming out a little bit, it was a rough stretch for him. I don't know what's going on with him, but to me, I thought he looked, I don't know if he's hurt or if he's dealing with something. He doesn't have the same pop. He's not moving with the same athleticism, and he kind of looks tired at the end of these games in a way that I'm just not used to seeing Bam with his, top 1% conditioning and all the Heat culture-y stuff with him. I don't know what's going on with him. But it's not been a good couple of games when the Heat have really needed him to step up offensively. He's not been there. I mean, not even to the point where people have, like, you and I talk about this all the time, unrealistic expectations of Bam to be this 25 point per game scorer. He's not even scoring the 19 or 20 that the Heat are accustomed to him averaging, right? He's scoring less than that. If he's scoring just about what he usually does offensively, he'd probably win at least one of these games on the road, other than the Brooklyn game.
I can't recall the last time he had a dunk.
Interesting.
Like, it seems like right now his shot diet is so much more diverse in a good way, but the shots at the rim, and I think even John Crotty said so on the broadcast, that they'd want him to. I think the preference is, especially for a player kind of struggling with his shot a little bit and trying to find his way, is to get those easier looks, and those easier looks often come at the basket. And despite being guarded by either Karl Anthony Towns or Mitchell Robinson or OG Anunoby, like, I think Bam could have had those opportunities at the rim, and we just didn't see that. At least I can't recall any of those shots being at
He's
the
had
rim.
a really hard time getting to the basket, trying to dribble around these guys. He's never had a particularly great handle, but he's usually able to kind of, especially in transition, kind of two power dribble, get by you kind of thing, and that has kind of gone away over the last few days. He is getting to the free throw line, so there is a way to make up for it. But again, you kind of want to see the shots go in from the field at some point, right? You don't want to just
Oh,
be a guy that
absolutely.
lives at the line. Yeah.
No, no. And I think maybe part of that is playing alongside Khalil. Obviously, he's drawing the center assignment on
Mhm.
defense. And so he's being guarded by, say, a guy like OG, who's a very quick and mobile defender and can challenge a player like Bam, especially when his handle isn't as tight as it could be. Bam's best asset before was playing at the center position, was being able to get past those slower, more plodding
Mhm.
big men, and now that's no longer an option for him. I think again, I think that's league wide too. Like you don't see a lot of players that can get past that. Unless you have a great touch around the basket like a Nikola Jokic. You're not going to be able to use speed as much because the reality is the center position is much quicker than it's ever been right now.
Mhm.
You have much more mobile centers or smaller players at the ostensible 5 spot there, and I think it's going to hurt Bam a little bit as he tries to find a shot. So he is struggling. And the Heat, frankly, just need more from him. And I think recent comments from Dwayne Wade were kind of directed at Bam Adebayo, or at least a lot of fans took it that way. We can't say for certain. Dwayne he's not going to call out Bam specifically. I don't even think that the way that Udonis Haslam reached out to Kel'el Ware, I don't think he's going to do that to Bam Adebayo because, well, Bam has been there. He's had those moments. He has been a culture setter for a long time now. So I don't know that he is going to get that sort of light a fire under him a little bit as much as a younger player like Ware. I think Bam's aware of what he needs to do, and quite honestly, he's just not able to do it. So there might be an injury, and we've seen this from Bam
Yeah.
before, where he doesn't talk about these kinds of things. He's not much to be like, "Oh, I was limited out there." You'd never know it. He's just going to go out there and try to play his way through it. But right now, he's struggling, and it
Mhm.
doesn't look like he's going to be able to figure it out anytime soon.
And everybody's allowed to go through a slump, right? Everybody's
No
allowed to
doubt.
go through a slump. The problem is, like everything in life, a lot of this is about timing. And when the Heat are sliding the way that they're sliding, and you need your best player to step up, we
Right.
talked about this. Like even against the Brooklyn Nets, who are starting Clowney and Claxton, two pretty good centers, right? The Nets are not a good basketball team, but that is a tough front court to match up against. I I said it going into it. I don't care. I don't no excuses, right? Like at some point, you just no more excuses. And I think it's a good point that you made though about with Ware there, is that hurting Bam offensively because I tend to believe that having Ware in the starting lineup helps Bam offensively because instead of having to try to shoot over these 7-footers, he's able
Right.
to use his power to push through smaller players. And all of a sudden now he has a size advantage where typically he has a size disadvantage because he's just a little bit smaller as a center. But against guys like OG Anunoby and Jalen Brown and some of these other guys, like those guys are really strong and kind of as big as Bam, right? So in these particular matchups, he hasn't really had that advantage, and so he doesn't have a size advantage, and he doesn't have the athleticism advantage because those guys are also more athletic than him. So it has been a tough matchup, but again, at some point you just run out of the excuses. At some
Yeah.
point you
No
just
doubt.
say, "Look, dude, you're the all-star, you're the captain, like you got to be better than 14 points on 11 shots. Like you just got to be better than that." And these fadeaway kind of things that he's doing now, it's not efficient. It's not good offense. It's all these mid-range shots. He took 3 3-point attempts tonight, missed all 3 of them. I'm glad he took at least 3. Um, I'd like to see him get to the line even more than he did. But more importantly, he's got to figure out a way to get to the rim. And I don't know if he's nursing something that's hindering him right now. Let's talk about the good. Kel'el Ware, his weekend at Boston on Friday night, 24 points and 14 rebounds, and then tonight against the Knicks, 28 points and 19 rebounds. This is after the first game of the trip in Brooklyn, where the Heat won that game and he closed over Bam. So this was a really positive trip for Kel'el Ware, who is back in the starting lineup right now because of all the injuries that the Heat are dealing with. But he was clearly Miami's best player tonight. He was their
Yeah.
best player tonight. And I don't think it was close. Norm Powell had his moments. Jaime Jaquez Jr. had his moments. Kel'el Ware was wire to wire Miami's best player on both ends.
He's
He is
playing
clearly
still
now,
will.
yeah. And
No,
to
no, I
me,
mean he's yeah. Go ahead.
he's clearly one of Miami's best 5 players now. He's made that leap into that, right? And I think he needs to be in the starting lineup, even when Tyler Herro comes back. Those lobs, that dunker spot activity, the offensive rebounding from him, he went toe-to-toe with Mitchell Robinson on several occasions tonight, which is a hard thing to do. He's just a guy that adds something that nobody else on this roster does, and I think that level of versatility is really important for this team. And their best offense the last couple of games has just been finding Ware near the basket and just letting him dunk it. And I don't think you can afford to take that out of the starting lineup, especially when he's been getting the minutes he's been getting and how productive he's been.
I mean, the shots at the rim are one thing, but the shooting from the perimeter. What was he? 6 of 7 against Boston on Friday, 5 of 7 against the Knicks tonight.
11 3-pointers in 2 games.
11 of 14 from 3. That's
the center.
Steph Curry. Yeah,
right.
That's like Steph Curry. You would want that from Curry to be like, that was a really good stretch from Steph Curry. To get that from a 7-foot center who's also chipped in 19 boards. I mean, that's a pretty amazing stat line there. Like he's feeling it, and it's too bad because I think it's going to add some noise to everything that's going on with Bam, and eventually once Tyler comes back too, it's like, oh, here's this one player on a rise. You just wish that all these things would kind of coincide at the right way. You know, it's good that you're getting Kel'el to play at this level. You just wish it wasn't at the time when Bam is struggling as well. Like you'd like both of them to kind of have good moments coincide. You'd want Tyler to coincide in a good way. The same way that Tyler struggles coincided with the losing streak, or when Tyler's return coincided with the losing streak. I think this is it's easy to kind of point to one player ascending and another player descending and say, oh, look, we're one player is much better than the other. I still don't think that's the case. I just think Bam is struggling clearly, but we can all give kudos to Kel'el for playing so much better because he's really been much more decisive. His defense has been really solid. Like I think he's being much more nimble. It's not just the shot blocking or the threat of the shot blocking. Like he's doing good things even out in the perimeter. He's moving his feet well. He's playing with an energy that, quite frankly, I don't think any of us expected. He's just continued to grow and develop. And to your point, I think he has to continue as a starter. I don't know what that starting lineup would be without him. I guess the easy one to take out of the starting lineup is probably Davion Mitchell.
He's cooled off a little bit. Drew Smith has been really up and down. So do you move Davion to the bench, take Drew Smith out of the rotation? You could play Kaz. They basically are playing him as a 2 guard, not really a point guard at this point. So you could still find minutes for Kaz if you want, or not, right? Like he's 19 years old. He's not owed any of these minutes, but it is fun to watch him out there. And I thought he's been pretty good. I thought he was pretty good over the weekend, but and should mention he started in Boston, which was a heck of a place. Hey, by the way, Rook, 19-year-old, you're gonna your first NBA start in Boston. Have fun with that. But he played well, I thought. Challenging 3-game trip is over. Are we feeling better or worse about the Heat as they return home? We'll talk about that next.
Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. NFL Sundays move fast, not fast enough for Dolphins fans. One big play, and suddenly everything feels different. And that's what makes live betting with FanDuel so exciting. You're not just watching the game, you're reacting to it in real time. With FanDuel, you can place bets as the action unfolds. Every drive, every momentum swing, every highlight moment. Live betting is best when the game starts to shift. A receiver gets hot, defense tightens up, or the momentum flips after a turnover. FanDuel lets you jump into the moment. Live spreads and money lines adjust instantly. Player props update as guys heat up. And you can bet next touchdown scores. You can bet on drive results, totals, and more. It keeps you locked into every snap, every drive, and every possibility. So if you want to be right in the middle of the action this season, FanDuel.com and place your NFL live bets all season long. The playoff picture is starting to shape up, but FanDuel, the game moves fast, and so can you. We'll be right back.
Before we get to our listener questions, David, a 1-2 road trip never looks good. Your only win coming against Brooklyn, who's not a good basketball team. You lose to the Knicks, you lose to the Celtics. Not good, not good. But Kel'el Ware did play better, and I do think the Heat broke out of some of the things that were dogging them over the course of this losing skid, right? And I guess the streak came to a close with that win in Boston, and now they're back into a 2-game losing streak. But it's been a rough slide here. Yeah. But the three-point shooting is back. I actually thought they played really well for the better parts of the games in Boston and in New York, right? If you kind of take this out and say, okay, they played pretty well for 80 to 85% of those games, but they just kind of lost track of it down the stretch of both of those games. I think there's some positives to take away from this trip. I thought they played some of their best basketball than they've played in a long time. They didn't get the wins, but it does at least feel like they were getting back to some of the things that they wanted to get back to. Am I just being a crazy optimist here? I'm trying to do, I don't want to just play the results. I want to look at the process of this stuff. I want to bring nuance to this kind of conversation. It's never great losing to these teams losing these games. But if you're Eric Spoelstra and you're this team and you're trying to figure out something to hold on to coming out of this, I think you say, okay, the shooting slump is over. We're finding ways to get shots. There are good things that we could take away from this, and eventually this skid is going to end.
Yeah, I mean, there were stretches there where it was the kind of basketball that you expect Miami to play, or that you'd hope that they could, that they started off the season demonstrating at such a high level. So I think that's a good point. I think you can look at this group, and I wouldn't go so far as to say they figured it out, because they wound up losing anyway.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess, maybe this is the counter to the counter, right? Like, there was the initial surge from this team where they caught everybody off guard. Then there's the league-wide response of like, oh, we can kind of sort of figure it out. And now this is Miami's kind of bounce back to what it was that they were doing so well, and kind of doing things a little different, mixing more PNR, getting some contributions from different players. Like, you look at what Miami was able to do at the start of the season, shoot so well from 3-point range and get all these incredible contributions from players across the board. They're not getting those same things, but they're still competitive. I mean, they were just as good offensively in the first half as they'd been all season, and unfortunately just tapered off a little bit. But I think you could look at this as a very slight positive, and I'm saying that as with great difficulty, because 1 and 2 is still 1 and 2 at a point in time when you need to continue to make your push in the standings, because it's only going to get more difficult from here. So you hope that you can weather this storm and continue to try to find ways to improve and diversify what it is that you were doing so well, and be able to respond as other teams kind of just look to provide more of a challenge moving forward.
Let's get to some more listener questions here at the text line. You can get text from us and submit questions for the post-game shows like this with the link in the show notes, or text 786-998-7029. Cody writes in, this is an insane question. Way to start us off. Kel'el is 21 years old and is comfortably putting up 28 and 20 performances on efficient three-point shooting, 46%. Would it be wiser to trade Bam in a Giannis package than Kel'el, assuming that he does this nightly in his true prime? If Kel'el is putting up 28 and 20 nightly in his true prime, you don't trade him for anybody, okay? That's Wilt Chamberlain, dude. Like, I understand. I'm assuming Cody didn't mean that literally. Look at Kel'el's averages for the season. They're still not all-star level. He has stretches where he's really good. I don't want to take anything from Kel'el, because, again, he's only 21 years old. He has taken a leap. He's awesome. It would be very, very hard for me to trade Kel'el. You only do it for somebody like Giannis. But the question of would it be wiser to trade Bam instead of Kel'el in a Giannis package is irrelevant. The question is, who would Giannis prefer to play with, Kel'el or Bam? That's the real question, because you need Giannis to re-sign on that extension. And whatever's going to help him re-sign once you trade for him, that's your answer. Plus, Milwaukee would probably prefer to have a younger Kel'el than to have 30-year-old Bam Adebayo at this point if they're rebuilding post-Giannis. So in a vacuum, I understand the question, but there's so much context and there's so much here that I don't really think it's... I really don't even think that this is a decision that the Heat will be allowed to make. I don't think it's even up to them.
That was a very political answer.
Well, that's the question.
It was still a very political answer in that sense. Like, who's a better fit alongside Giannis?
Bam.
Is it?
Right
alongside
now, yes.
Giannis?
Yes, right now, Bam is the better fit. He's the better player. The idea with Giannis is let's go win a championship. Bam and Giannis helps you win a championship more than Bam and Ware does right now. Or Giannis and Ware.
I mean, the way that, and again, this is really a hot shooting streak here, but I mean, Ware being able to stretch the floor the way he does, that seems more complimentary.
Bam makes threes.
Bam, he can.
Ware's not a 50% three-point shooter. Come on.
No, he's not a 90% three-point shooter the way he has been this weekend. No, I get that. It's just, I don't know.
At some point, talent overtakes fit to me right now. Like, just like pure, what are you doing right now?
But I do agree that your point is who Giannis feels more comfortable with. And I think somebody who's a proven veteran, who's been in these moments, who he knows personally has guarded him at a high level in clutch situations in the playoffs, etc. Like, those kinds of things do matter. I think Giannis would overwhelmingly prefer playing with a guy like Bam. In 5 years from now, who knows? That's a completely different question. But right now, today, yes. Yeah, I think he would prefer playing with Bam.
Jonah writes in. Oh, sorry. I thought you were done.
No,
sorry, go ahead.
No, that's it. No, that's it.
Jonah writes in, I thought we put up a good fight, but it's clear the direction we need to go in. They won't do it because they only value winning. But if we can't get Giannis, we might as well let the youngins rock. Love Bam, but there's a real issue when a 21-year-old, as talented as he is, doubles you in points and in rebounds. Jonah essentially saying, if you don't get Giannis, reset this thing and just go young, build around Kel'el, and I would presume guys like Jaime Jaquez Jr., Kasparis Yakachonis, just go young, start stockpiling picks, I think is where Jonah's going with this. And if you can't get Giannis and you don't know who you're going to get, I know that they're playing for free agency of 2027 in addition to Giannis here. There might come a time, I don't know when that time is, but there might come a time where the Heat have to look at themselves in the mirror and say, we're just not getting that superstar player to come here via free agency or trade. We kind of have to do this through the draft. I don't know when that time is, but there's a world where that time does come within the next 2 or 3 years, for sure.
I don't know. I think it's way too early. Like a month ago, we were talking about title contenders, and now basically it's let's tank or something. Let's lean into the youth movement.
We're nowhere clear. We're nowhere even close to that. To your point.
Yeah. So I think it's and I get it. It's easy to be reactionary at this point in time. I just think that this team's probably, as you've said before, they were neither as good as they showed early in the season, and nor are they as bad as what seems like now. And so I don't think they're necessarily in the middle. I think they're probably an above average team, and just kind of need to find their mojo a little bit. And I think they need to get some players back and be able to work their way closer to what we saw earlier in the season and less like what we've seen recently.
Last thing, Adam writes, when will this skid end? To your point, David. I mean, eventually it's got to happen. They play the Toronto Raptors at home on Tuesday night, and then the day after Christmas on Friday the 26th, they're in Atlanta. Then they play the Pacers on the 27th. These are winnable games. If the Heat play, I'll put it this way. If the Heat play the way that they did in Boston and in New York, and you get an expected bounce back from Bam, assuming that there isn't something really serious bothering him right now, you could go 3-0 over this next 3-game stretch if you continue playing the way that you've been playing and keep progressing the way you've been progressing.
That's the hope, right? I mean, they
sure.
definitely they need to turn things around a little bit. You just want to continue to just. I mean, it sounds easy to say. At this time, based on what we've seen recently, you got to notch as many wins as possible at a steady stream. You're going to have up and down games. You're going to be incorporating players. You're going to have injuries, etc. You're going to face these challenges, but they've got to be better than what they have shown lately, and this is the opportunity for them to do so.
That'll do it for us today. Thanks for tuning into Locked On Heat. Make sure you subscribe and follow Locked On Heat so you get all the latest episodes. Find us on Twitter and on Instagram at Locked On Heat. Did Locked On Heat make your Spotify Wrapped? Prove it on social media to secure a free month of our brand new Everydayer Club. Just tag our national Locked On Podcast Network account on any social platform, and we'll drop you a code. Be one of the first to join the Everydayer Club to get your favorite show ad-free and exclusive access to the members-only Discord channel. For those of you on video, we send you to the first ever 24/7 national NBA YouTube channel. On audio, make sure you make your second listen Locked On NBA Daily.